Hi everyone, this is Caroline Speaks, The State of Her World on Friday, July 24th, 2020. So what is it? Well, we still have the coronavirus with us. It's going to be with us for a long time. We have to learn to live with it. As of this evening, we had 4,120,141 cases in the United States. That's a lot of people uh, being sick who had the virus. That a lot of people who have had the virus recovered from it or didn't recover from it. So we have, we still have to keep talking about the same thing: shelter in place, wear a mask when you're out in public, uh, don't go out unless you really have to, like to go to the grocery store, the doctor, or the drugstore, and uh, consider and do what you can to help vulnerable populations like those in nursing homes, assisted living homes, retirement homes, veterans homes, those who do not have a home, who either live on the street or live in shelters. Those who are agricultural farm workers who work very closely together are vulnerable to the virus, those in prisons and jails, those in detention centers, migrants in detention centers, again, they're living very closely together. So we have to consider those people, do what we can to help them. Now, as far as migrants, immigrants, Trump is still separating families, uh, taking, uh, putting children in one place, the adults in another place. I don't know if they're keeping track of what kids belong with what parents and where they all are. I don't know. But they're still doing that, and they have some hotels they're using, I believe in Texas, where they take the kids. And some of the kids they're not even being held in detention, they're being deported. Where are they deporting them to? They're children. And in other cases, we have the children in detention centers and the parents are deported. Very strange situation. Now, also, we have these stimulus bills that have been passed by Congress to help people with direct payments, with an extra $600 a month if you went on unemployment insurance. That's ending. We've had help with rent, paying your rent and your mortgage. That's ending. So if people don't have the money to pay their rent or their mortgage, if they have a home, and the bank that owns their home or the landlord who owns the building where they're renting, so what's going to happen to them? Are they all going to be evicted and put on the streets? Now I realize if you are a landlord and you have a rental property, you have a mortgage you have to pay. So any help that comes, it has to be to help you as the owner of the property, so that your tenants can live there and not have to worry about being evicted because they can't pay their rent. And the banks that are holding the mortgages on homes, they have to be helped so that the homes they own will remain occupied by the buyers of those homes. So it's a bad situation, but they have to help all these people. Also, we have to continue working on keeping the first responders, the healthcare workers, the essential workers all safe. That's why you really have to stay home. You don't go to parties, you don't go to the beach, you don't go to the park. You stay home, and you only go out when you have to, because the life you're saving could be your own, it could be the life of a friend or a family member. So you have to be disciplined about this. Stay home. And we don't have a vaccine. We don't have a cure. We're supposed to be doing testing on a national level. That's not happening. And because we really need to know who has the virus and who doesn't. And if someone has the virus, trace their contacts. Anyone who has the virus, isolate them, put them in quarantine, trace their contacts. Any of their contacts have the virus, same thing, put them in quarantine, trace their contacts, etc., etc. So that's what we have to. That's the only way we're going to solve this. Really need to go back to the beginning and have a nationwide lockdown. We did have a lockdown among a bunch of states, but then they were opening too early and not in a systematic way. And so now we have surges of the virus all over the country. So we really have to go back to the beginning, maybe to a national lockdown, and start over again. And I think we have to provide everybody with like a living income so that they can stay home until we conquer this virus. Now, the Trump and some state governments want to open up the schools, but they don't have the money to pay for keep them and make sure they're safe, so that everyone's tested, the social distancing, everything's sanitized. There's no money to do that. You have to have small groups, very small groups, and you need space. You can put the kids on multiple sessions so they're not all there at the same time, but that's may not be effective because you're still putting them together. It's best if they stay home with virtual learning, with the government providing all the technology and equipment needed for people to stay at home and learn. And you open the school, and the kids say okay, but a teacher gets sick or a staff member gets sick. So what are you going to do? You send them all home, isolate them, quarantine them. A student will learn at home effectively with the right kind of help. Teachers can teach online. They don't have to be in person. And if any students who fall behind in the curriculum, in their studies, so when things improve, we go back to normal, they can be helped to catch up. The important thing to remember is if they're safe and they fall behind, at least they're alive and they're healthy. If you send them off to school and they get sick and they die, then they're not going to catch up. They won't have a chance to catch up. So no longer be alive. So we really have to do this right. Now the CDC had issued guidelines in the past on how to reopen schools. And it appears that those guidelines have been redone, probably under pressure from the Trump administration. And now the CDC guidelines for reopening schools put a heavy emphasis on having students back in the classroom. So what the CDC, is the Center for Disease Control, is supposed to know what works and what doesn't work. But I think they're being pressured to issue these guidelines to kind of force teachers back into the classroom. And what if they get sick? Who's going to take care of them, or they bring the illness back home to their families? So I believe that children can learn virtually at home until things get back to normal, and then they catch up. You know, there are children who live in refugee camps all over the world, every country, and they're learning. Somehow they're learning, and they don't have any choice. They're in a refugee camp because their country has been invaded, like in Syria. Their homes are destroyed. They're fleeing violence in their home country. So it can work. Yes, it definitely can. So give it a try. You might like it. Now, what else is going on here? Now, Trump has canceled his Republican convention. Okay. And the CDC has now changed its guidance on how long someone who has the virus needs to isolate. It's supposed to be 14 days, they were saying. Now it's 10 days. So I'm wondering if they changed that under pressure from the Trumpers, or if that's really true, that they only need to isolate for 10 days. Who knows? The Congress is still not uh, doing its job in providing health benefits, food benefits, housing benefits to everyone who needs the help now that the virus is here. So when are we going to get our act together and do this? We're also in hurricane season now, and we have storm systems that are approaching the country. Now, if we have in-person learning, what do you do if a student or a teacher gets sick? Lock down the whole place again and start all over? I don't know. I really believe the reason that Trump and his people want to reopen the schools is because they feel if the schools are open, the parents can go to work. They don't have to worry about child care. But school is not 24 hours a day. It depends on what kind of job someone has, and they'll still need child care. So I think he's thinking in terms of school can be the babysitter, the parents can go to work, the economy get better, and then all of a sudden everything would be better and he has a better chance of winning the election. So let's not sacrifice the health and lives of our teachers and support staff and students for Trump's re-election. Wow. Now, we really need to do a lot of stuff, and it's going to take time. Okay, so let's do the right thing. Our country has survived for a long time. We still have protesters being attacked by federal forces sent in by Trump in Portland, Oregon. We really don't know if he has the authority to do that, but there are court fights going on about that. Now, in addition to that, the Constitution does guarantee to all of us the right to protest, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and a free press. But Trump doesn't like that. Anyway, so this is going on. People are still protesting over the murder of George Floyd in Minnesota by a white Minnesota police officer as part of Black Lives Matter movement. So I think that would be nice if we could resolve that and give everyone the respect and dignity they need, and the health care and the housing and the food, whatever, basic needs. Maybe someday we'll get to that. Anyway, I think maybe it's time for a little song. The song I wrote a while ago, it's called Friend. So let's give it a try, okay? There's a time in your life when you need to know if you have a friend or not. So won't you open up the door and let me come back home and be your friend again? Will you stand by my side? Will you say you are my friend? This I need to know. I've done a lot of traveling all over this world, and one thing I have learned: there's a time in my life when I need to know if I have a friend or not. I will open up the door and let you come back home and be your friend again. I will stand by your side. I will say you are my friend. I will be true to you. Okay, that was called Friend. I hope you liked it. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening on this evening of Friday, July 24th, 2020. So I'd like to say good night. Hope you'll be back in tomorrow for another meeting. And remember, stay safe, take care of yourself and others. And especially remember, kindness goes a long way. Kindness goes a very long way. Thank you. Good night, all. See you later. Bye.